Over the years, we have seen a lot, and I mean a lot of games released. And I bet when I said that, you instantly started thinking of your favourite games. Well, I guarantee a lot of people watching this right now thought of games like GTA 5, God of War, maybe Minecraft, or even a game like Skyrim. But if I had to guess the most popular answer, I would have to guess Red Dead Redemption 2. At least, that's my answer anyways. I know this won't be everyone's answer, but I think it's a very popular one. And if you disagree, stay around for the next 15 minutes or so and see if I manage to convince you otherwise. So, let's answer the question. Is Red Dead Redemption 2 the best game of all time? Now obviously before we start, I do have to say that there will be spoilers for the game in this video, so if you somehow haven't played the game, then go ahead and play it, come back to this video and tell me if you agree with me. Anyways, let's get started. First impressions of a game are everything, because if you launch that first mission of a game, or even just the loading screen, and you aren't convinced by what you see that this will definitely be a good game, then kiss your chances of being the best game ever goodbye. But RDR2 is definitely an attention grabber, with the shotgun blast loading screen to showing you places of the map in the loading screen and the old rugged handwriting. It all definitely makes itself stand out. Then we launch the first mission and we get a shot of the gang riding through the snow straight away, with it being very obvious who the leader of the gang is and how this game is going to be very gang oriented, unlike the first RDR game. And personally, at this point, I knew it was going to be a very good game. Now, let's talk about the map. There are countless videos made about the map alone, all over YouTube, because the amount of detail that went into it, from the individual towns and cities, to the hidden secrets along the way, and all of the different climates, just to name a few things that make it so amazing. The entire map is just so beautiful to look at and explore. You could spend days exploring it, and you wouldn't even be halfway done finding everything there is. And the high graphics of the game make everything so realistic and make it so much more immersive. The amount of different animals to find and hunt as well cannot be understated, with over 200 species of all kinds of animals to find, including a lot of legendary variations of certain animals like bear, wolf and fish, just to name a few. With that keeping the hunting aspect of the game feeling very fresh. With such a big map, they allow lots of different ways of transport as well, with horses, trains, canoe, tram and even fast travel for all the lazy players. All the towns and cities need talking about as well, with every single one of them bringing a new feel to the game, keeping it nice and fresh for the player. With Saint Denis being a posher, richer city and Ansberg being a dirty city based around the mines. Each one you go to will bring you new interactions and a very different experience. And they even added a whole other island just for chapter 5, where half the gang gets stuck in Guarma, and honestly, that island is beautiful. I recommend next time you're on that chapter, go have a look around. The change up of camps in between the chapters is such an underrated part of the game. Giving the players a new base camp in a new location of the map at just the right time keeps the player wanting to play more. It also keeps them wanting to explore the new area and just in general keeps them excited about what's next. All of these base camps are such an iconic part of the game, and there's a very common discussion in the community about what people's favourites were. Mine definitely being Shady Belle, by the way. Even the hidden details put into the camps are insane. For example, in chapter 1, Arthur and Dutch are set up right next to each other, but in the final chapter, after the relationship had soured, the sleeping quarters were a lot further from each other. Overall, the map is probably the most beautiful open world map of all time, and I don't think it'll be beaten at all. With all the colours and the animals and the beautiful sunsets and sunrises, it just adds so much to the gameplay. Rockstar really went all in on the characters in this game, from the antagonist to the gang members to the NPCs all being interactive, and of course, the main protagonist. Let's start with the Van der Linde gang though. The gang has such a perfect balance of good souls to heartless people and everyone in between. And even the evolution of these characters and their relationships with each other makes the game so attention grabbing. For example, the first time we see John Marston was when Javier and Arthur save him from the snowy mountains after a pack of wolves got the best of him, with Arthur giving John the cold shoulder and actually not wanting to go find him, only being convinced by Javier.
That's quite a scratch you got there.
Never thought I'd say this, but it's good to see you, Arthur Morgan.
But at the end of the game, it's Arthur and John against the world, with Arthur sacrificing himself to get John away from the gang, so he and his family could go live a better life. We also see the relationship with Dutch and Arthur start as a father-son-like bond, with it deteriorating slowly throughout the game, and it eventually ending up in Dutch leaving Arthur to die on numerous occasions. Eventually leaving him to die on the side of a mountain, where Arthur would finally succumb to all of his injuries and his illnesses. Even all the other members of the gang and the interactions with them make the game just that much more perfect, with Arthur being like an uncle to little Jack and being like an older brother to Sadie, with her evolution on her own being probably the best in the entire game, going from a widow picked up in the first mission to one of the gang's best gunslingers. The side characters like Lenny, Uncle, Sean, Tilly, just to name a few, all bring so much to the game, with every one of them having a completely different personality to the rest, making the conversations with them that much more worth it. Now, let's have a look at the antagonists, with there being so many to talk about because I guess the Van der Linde gang weren't very liked. Throughout the whole game, we are introduced to so many different villains that do so many different things to the gang that it keeps us on our toes. From Leviticus Cornwall to Como O'Driscoll and the O'Driscoll gang, to then the Pinkertons and then Angelo Bronte and then the Greys and the Braithwaites. You get the idea. All of the different missions dealing with all of the different villains make sure that the game doesn't get repetitive, and it really does work. And the feeling when you finally kill that villain you've been chasing the entire game or chapter.
Whenever you are ready.
Honestly, euphoric. They designed these villains so well, making us hate each one of them for a different reason and making us understand the problem we have with them so easily. Now, onto the two main reasons this game is as good as it is in my opinion, starting with the story. With 6 main story chapters, 2 epilogue chapters, and over 50 hours of gameplay, we definitely get sucked into the story. The amount of background we get as the story goes on helps us understand each character better and what happened before the game started, whilst also keeping the new stories fresh with new missions constantly. With the main story of the camp slowly falling apart always being apparent, no matter what chapter you're in, with it getting more and more obvious the more you play. Then I guess mix that with Arthur's TB and all the antagonists, and you've got one hell of a game. It's easy to get so drawn into one particular story, then out of nowhere another one kicks off and another one gains momentum. And I get, for some people, how that could be too much. But, in my opinion, there's never too much happening at once. I think they found the perfect balance between too much and not enough. I understand it's very chaotic at times, but I just think that adds to the game. The story of this game is unlike any other, with twists and turns that no one could expect, game-changing decisions in every chapter, missions that vary from a good 10-minute laugh to straight brutality, and an ending to the story that could bring a tear to anyone's eyes. Even the epilogue is better than most games on its own, with the epilogue having one of the most satisfying endings of all time. I must have replayed that mission about 100 times.
You shot me. You shot me pretty good.
Never gets old. This game's story takes us on a roller coaster of emotions, and I love it. One second everything could be great in camp, with everyone singing songs around the fire and getting a few drinks in them. Then next second something detrimental has happened. You never know what will happen next, and that's what keeps us on the edge of our seat. And I just can't finish this topic without talking about that final ride into camp, with the intense feel and the iconic music in the background, letting you know that that was it. This was the final mission. Probably the most underrated part of the entire game.
May the wind be at your back. Good fortune.
Now, I feel like it's time to talk about the main reason this game is as good as it is in my opinion. Arthur Morgan. In my opinion, there will never be a main protagonist as good as Arthur. He is as complete of a character you can get. He is a complete badass that can catch the attention of anyone in the room with a killer instinct when he needs it. But then we also see how much of a kind heart he has and how much he cares for everyone. Well, almost everyone in the camp. He makes sure everyone feels safe and would do whatever he could for them, but he would also put people in line whenever they needed it. Arthur is the perfect example of a carer who can flip that switch whenever he needs to and can turn into a completely different person. His relationship with every character in the game is so impactful, no matter how big or small of a character they are, and learning about his background, with his son and the mother of his child being killed just over a few dollars, his ex-girlfriend Mary's family disapproving of their relationship and of Arthur's lifestyle, and the couple eventually breaking up, and his parents dying whilst Arthur was still young, with Arthur watching his father's death. No one could blame him for wanting to be a completely heartless killer with no love for anything or anyone. But that isn't what he's like at all. Even after all of that, Arthur is still a good man, a great man even, still caring for Mary and her family, still looking after everyone in camp, and eventually giving up his life to give John a chance at surviving. He didn't deserve anything that happened to him, especially the tuberculosis. I will never ever like you, Leopold Strauss. Those final 3 to 6 months for Arthur, as we could see the TB getting worse and worse, with Arthur even collapsing randomly outside of missions, catching everyone off guard, was just heartbreaking. We could see that there seemed no good outcome for Arthur in this situation, but instead of him being completely nonchalant about it all and acting like it wasn't there, he would be open about his fears, giving us probably the second saddest cutscene in the entire game.
I guess I'm afraid.
I'm sorry, but if you don't get at least watery eyes on this, then you just have no soul. Admitting his fears showed that at the end of the day, he's just human and he doesn't want to die. But he knows his fate, and he was scared about it. Yeah, that's something you won't see in many, if not any other game. The main protagonist showing that side of himself, instead of being this constant tough crazy killer, really catches you off guard. And it was a really powerful impactful move by Rockstar. And obviously, Arthur's eventual death was the saddest in gaming history, in my opinion. And also, this is assuming you're sane and chose to help John. But the music in the background as the sun is rising, and Arthur is taking his final breaths, seeing the deer symbolising the end of the line for him. Straight cinema. Very sad cinema, but still, you get the point. Arthur Morgan took this game from a 10 out of 10 to a 100 out of 10, and he will forever be known as one of the most legendary characters in gaming history. Now obviously, pretty much everything in this video is straight opinion based. I can't speak for every single person that's played the game, so if you still somehow disagree with me, then please let me know down in the comments why. Let me know what you think the best game is of all time, and don't shorten your answers. I love reading the comments, so leave me an essay down there for all I care. I just want to know your thoughts. But if you haven't guessed already, in my opinion, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the greatest game of all time. Thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. I wanted to do something different to music, so let me know what you think and I'll make sure to keep them coming. Still expect to see music content, just might have a few more based around TV, movies and games in there as well. So if you have any requests, let me know. I also made a new channel that's on screen now, where I'll be posting gaming, with videos to come on there soon, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. And that's it from me, so I'll see you all next week. Goodbye guys.